got the best.
On digital radio, on the app, on your smart speaker, on Twitter, YouTube, Twitch.tv, and Facebook.
The Sports Cast. Expect the unexpected.
The Jersey Boys Sports Talk presented by The Sports Cast.
The Jersey Boys Sports Talk with Victor Arocho and Byron Jones. And here's your host, Victor Arocho. All right, let's get it on. Let's get it on. Here we go. Jersey Boys Sports Talk live out of Miami, Fort Lauderdale, and Lancaster, Pennsylvania. Welcome to the Jersey Boys Sports Talk, hosted by Byron Jones and Victor Arocho, brought to you by The Sports Cast. Today is February 20th. Is that right, Byron? February 20th. Yeah. If you haven't yet, please subscribe to The Sports Cast on all our channels on YouTube, X, Spotify, and iTunes. We're also streaming on your favorite podcast streaming channels. Please leave us a rating and a review. It'll help us out tremendously. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. Smash the like button if you like what you hear. Leave your comments. We're getting some comments from time to time. I will respond to them. Our producer always sends them me. Please understand, I'm going to respond to you in my opinion only. And don't forget, the art of sport is debate. It's not argument, it's debate. So we'll talk about that in a few minutes. We stream live every Thursday at 8 p.m. on YouTube and Facebook. And we always have special guests from their own podcast, their own show. We have a special guest today. We'll let him in a few minutes. He's holding on in the green room. And right now, we're going to get right into it. Mr. Byron Jones, how are you doing today?
Oh, wonderful. I'm dealing with this wonderful weather in the 20s. Right now, we have a snow shower going on. So, yeah, it's interesting.
You have a snow shower going on?
Yeah, it's like, little twinkles of snow. It's not crazy, but it's coming down. It's coming down. It's coming down.
I'm doing some little videotaping so I can do some of my social media now. So look, I got a new little toy, see, and it moves around.
Oh,
it rotates. You know me, I like my gadgets. So we're streaming. I'm gonna just a little bit. I know. I can't just do all the time. All right, let's get it on. It is beautiful here. It's a little chilly tonight. In our building, they're having movie night, 51st date. So I watched it for a little bit and left. But it was pretty good. But let's get going. We got a lot to talk about. So let's bring in one of our favorite guests and our host of the Donut Bag, Mr. Joey Toscano. He has his own podcast, The Donut Bag. Talks a lot about the Pittsburgh Steelers. He's a Pittsburgh native. Talks all around sports. He'll tell you a little bit later on. But Mr. Joey, Mr. Donut Bag, Mr. Joey Bag of Donuts, welcome to the Jersey Boys Sportscast. How you doing, buddy?
I'm good. Thanks for having me.
How's the weather over there in Pittsburgh?
Me and Byron have the same weather. It's 17 degrees here and snowing.
Yep.
Oh, really? All right. Well, there's no snow here. It's about 72 degrees in the snow.
Whatever, man. Stop rubbing people's face.
Rub it in.
I gotta wear it. Here's the boys crying here. The boys crying. They gotta go outside, warm their cars up. They gotta put on 50,000 jackets.
Yes, we do.
They're lucky they get to have winter weight, so there's no problem. We can hide it. We got to stay a little bit fit. I got to lose a little bit more weight, but we still got a little bit more fit.
Then you come up here and all your immune from back in the day. You come up here, you got to put 5,000 coats on. You start your little nose starts running and everything. You start complaining about it. You come up here as soon as it goes under 50. Come on, man, let it go.
Guys, let me ask you a question though. Is it me or is it like I'm cold, right? When I'm there, and it's cold, obviously. But like when I get in the car and if I get in the car, let's say with Benny, I just get in a car with one of you guys and you're just starting the car. I feel a lot colder in the car for the first few minutes than I was outside. Is it because the car seats are frozen? Everything inside the car? I mean, it just seems colder.
Everything
normal
inside
car
the
than-
car is cold. Yeah.
I just feel like, man, I don't want to get inside that car. That car is cold.
Oh,
Man,
stop being
it's-
so soft, man. That's what
That's not-
remote start. Remote start. There you go.
Byron, just
Yeah.
come down and visit me one of these days. And once you
Heated
stay,
seats, heated steering wheel. That's what you need.
I have heated
I got
seats too.
all
I
of the
use
above.
heated seats for my back. All right, but let's talk some football. But it's always fun talking about the weather around the world. By the way, we were just talking about cheesesteaks. Byron, do you eat cheese? What kind of cheese do you eat on your cheesesteaks?
I don't mess with cheesesteaks.
Oh, really? Well, did you know? I forgot. There was a food truck here. It says he's from Pittsburgh, Philly. He's not a Philly fan. Funny, we saw it before the Super Bowl. But he says he's got some of the best cheesesteaks here. It'll match anybody in Philly. But he makes it either with provolone or he makes it with Velveeta cheese.
Velveeta cheese, yeah. Provolone, no. That
Provolone,
I do. No.
I've never heard of provolone. I've heard of regular
I've never
cheese,
heard of it.
cheddar cheese. I definitely heard of Velveeta. Velveeta is the original, no, Joey?
Right. The legit Philly's cheesesteak is with Velveeta.
That's what I
or some
thought.
kind of cheese sauce or something like that. But everyone else outside of Philadelphia uses provolone.
Yeah.
So they do.
Yeah.
Really? Interesting. I always thought a cheesesteak just had regular cheese. I didn't know it was provolone. I thought it was like mozzarella. It's true that it is white, but no wonder I like it with the Velveeta cheese then. I like the cheese.
If you want to get something really good, right, it's the roast pork with provolone and broccoli rabe on it.
But that's totally different. I'm just trying to
Wow.
Oh, no.
What drives me crazy is when somebody orders like an Italian sub from someplace and then they start adding a bunch of different stuff on it. Then don't call it an Italian sub. Just can I have a sub with this meat on it, and then let me put this and that and that. Italian sub is Italian sub. Don't ask me what kind of cheese goes on an Italian sub. An Italian sub comes with provolone. That's it.
Yeah.
There's no Italian sub that comes with any other kind of cheese.
Right. Yeah.
So call it a sub. I want capicola, I want salami, I want ham, and I want cheddar cheese. Okay, all right, good. I'll make that sub, but don't call it an Italian sub.
It's Italian sub.
It's not an Italian sub.
It's Italian sub.
It's a sub with different flavors on. All right.
No, around here it's a hoagie. Don't forget, it's a hoagie in Philadelphia.
I don't know.
Call
Yeah,
it a sub.
I don't know what a hoagie
Call it a
is.
sub around here.
I'd call it a sub if I go to Philly.
Yeah, no, they'll look at
I
you
wanna
like
get
you're
the
crazy.
let's
So
get
get
the
out of here.
banners going on. All right. Let's go. So I want to just share one screen for the record because there's been a couple people that have posted. Hey, listen, first of all, do we all agree that the art of sport is debate, right? We could argue from the tops of our lungs, right, of why one team is better than the other or one team isn't better than the other, right? And it's not a matter of right or wrong. It's just a matter of a lot of it's opinion and then a lot of it's logic. And you don't have to agree. But don't turn them into an argument. Turn into a debate. Is that a fair statement, Mr. Jones?
Yep.
Okay. Because other than you just like going against whatever I say, but it doesn't mean it doesn't bother me because we ain't arguing about it, which is debate. But there's sometimes we'll debate and sometimes we'll agree. And then sometimes no different than like when we talk with when we were debating about Russell Wilson earlier, and then things change, right? It's just, sometimes you're right, sometimes you're wrong, right? Like me picking the Chiefs, but I lost 3 times to Mahomes last year. And so I got a clip real quick. I want to show you guys. Hold on. Let's see. Can I share the screen? Shoot, I forgot how he put it on. I thought he put it here. Present. Share screen. Oh, there's an extra camera. I can get an extra camera on here. Right. Share screen. Boom. Allow. Entire screen. Bang. 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 Can you see my screen? Can you see my screen?
Just barely.
You can't see it?
Yeah, I can see it.
All right, doesn't matter.
Yep.
Can you hear it?
Why though? Okay, you just said the Eagles are better on paper.
Exactly.
Why?
Can you hear it?
For money on it, I'll take this.
Okay, as long as you can hear it. All right, so look, this is us for the Super Bowl. Remember, right?
Yep.
Thiago. And I want to go further because I'm getting some comments out there. This guy's talking all this, but he probably didn't pick the Eagles. He this and that. You're right. I didn't pick the Eagles, but it doesn't change what I said about the Eagles. Let's hear it.
For money on it, I'll take the Chiefs.
I was willing to put money on, which I would have lost. Okay, because it was at one point. But
why though? Okay, you just said the Eagles are better on paper. Why?
Exactly. I'm saying the Eagles are a better team. I forget about paper. I think they're just a better team. Like not on paper.
For sure.
They have better talent on offensive line. Their defensive line. They finally got good cornerbacks.
No doubt.
They have great receivers. They got a good quarterback. I mean, that's where they got the edge over there. Is a good quarterback. If you go look at it, the Chiefs had more turnovers. The Chiefs were the only team in the playoffs to have a turnover and actually win. Every other team that had turnovers lost in the playoffs. Correct?
All right, so that's it. I just want to say I want to go on record that am I still sharing stuff? Okay, how about now? We're not sharing. I just want to show for all the people out there listening and making comments about, hey, you probably didn't pick the Chiefs. I didn't pick the Chiefs. But you can play directly from StreamYard. Well, I didn't know that. You should show me that. I was trying to find it. You didn't tell me where it was. Next time I'll play it from there. But I just wanted to put. You heard me, Joey, right? You heard me say they were a better offensive line, better defensive line, better defensive backs, all line. They have a good quarterback. You got to agree, Jalen. If you had to pick a quarterback over quarterback, would you pick Jalen Hurts? This is for you, Byron. Who would you pick? Patrick Mahomes or Jalen Hurts?
For one game?
Come on, man.
Just for one game.
No, for the season. You can't play one game. Yeah.
Ooh, Patrick Mahomes.
Oh, man, come on. Really, Joe? Who would you pick?
One game, Mahomes. Yeah, Mahomes is the best ever.
I picked Mahomes, period, right? But Jalen Hurts is still a great quarterback. I'm not saying anything, but Mahomes has shown that he's still no one's even close to him right now. Now, he lost, but, Brady lost 3 times. He's still the GOAT. They're not calling anybody else the GOAT. In fact, my boy Eli couldn't even get in the first round. So that's a different story. But my point being is you can't. So my point, all I wanted to say is I did pick I did pick the Chiefs, but again, Philly played the level that I thought they should have played at least several games during the season against weaker opponents. But for them to put it together for the Super Bowl and win the Super Bowl, God bless them. But I just think they could have done that to several teams during the year. That's all I want to say. Byron, any thoughts on that?
No.
No thoughts?
I just had my Mr. I told you so moment, so I'm good now.
Last week? Yes, you did.
Yes.
Okay, we and Santiago missed the part where I said, "Oh man, everybody picked the Chiefs." Even the guy, Joey, that was arguing with me saying, "You just said the Eagles are better on paper." He picked the Chiefs. Okay, so and that's what his name was, Wes Welker, good kid. But everyone picked the Chiefs, and Byron picked the Eagles, and I'm like, "Oh man, that's the same thing happened against Detroit." I did not think Detroit. I didn't think Washington was good enough at that point to beat Detroit. Even with Detroit's issues and all that, they still were winning. They were still playing good. They destroyed Minnesota. I just didn't think they would beat Washington. Did you, Joe? I didn't think Washington would beat Detroit.
I thought Detroit would destroy Washington. I thought Washington's Cinderella run would end, and it did end against Philadelphia, but they were awesome against Detroit.
Exactly, and so everybody picked, and then Byron of all people doesn't pick Detroit, where his family all picks Detroit, and I thought he would pick Detroit. He's the only one who did it, and sure enough, he won that one as well. So it's anytime he's solo, I got to change my side just to mix it up. But anyways, that's it. I just wanted to mention what I had stated about the Eagles. Oh, my question to you, Joey, was remember during the season, everyone's always like Santiago, our producer, would always say, "Hey Vic, why are you like against the Chiefs?" Like, I'm not against the Eagles. I mean, I'm not against the Eagles. It's just that I always felt like they were winning, but they seemed so much better than the way they were winning. Like they should have dominated some teams during the last 3 years. And they were still 11-2. They still, I mean, I think Sirianni's has the most wins in 4 years. Is that correct, Byron?
Yep.
Okay, so they were still winning. I wasn't down in the winning. My only challenge was, it's like they're so good on paper without Barkley. That was doing without Barkley. That I just thought they should have beat up on teams a little bit more than they did during the season. But when they let it come together, they figured out how to turn that switch on, right, Byron?
Yep.
They turned that switch on, and they played great. That was a defensive win for me. I'm sorry. Joe?
Yeah, the Eagles were the most talented team in the league, and yeah, they would win in the regular season, but they had their troubles, and it's, you know, we weren't sure which way they were going to go, and then they just put it all together. And like, I'm just mad at myself because I picked the Chiefs too. I thought, well, you know, the Chiefs have been winning every game, you know, just barely getting by. So they're probably going to do the same thing in the Super Bowl. And the Eagles just, I should have seen it coming. Because the Eagles' talent just overcame everything. They were talented in almost every single player except quarterback. It was amazing.
Yeah, no, you couldn't see it coming. Vegas picked them to win. Number one. Number two, you know, you had the majority of people picked the Chiefs, except for Byron. Byron had a lot of really good points to why Santiago is coming in. Why doesn't debate? Doesn't want to debate. Who doesn't want to debate on the show? What is regular cheats? Santiago's asking me some crazy questions. It's, you know, Byron had great points between the offensive line, defensive line. You heard my comments before. Their offensive line was better. Their defensive line was better. It was just something about, like, last year, you know, I thought Jalen Hurts, his there was no other reason out there. But besides that, let's talk about what's happening around the league. Any other comments on this, Joey?
No, just congratulations to the Eagles. They killed it.
So Byron and I are trying to raise some money so we can buy a stake in the Giants. You in, Joey? We just need we need a few billion or several hundred million.
700 million to be exact for 10%.
700 million.
I cannot participate 10%. Because I own the Green Bay Packers, so I cannot own two NFL teams. Sorry.
Oh, really? Oh, so you have a license for the Packers?
I have one share of Packer stock. So, yeah, I am technically an NFL owner. Yeah.
How's it doing for you?
It does not go up. The value does not go up or down. So it doesn't. I'm not getting rich off of it. Let me put it that way.
And you're a Pittsburgh fan? What made you buy stock? You just wanted to have a piece of an NFL team?
Because the Steelers were not offering stock. So Green Bay is the only team that does that kind of thing, and they were raising money. And I thought, that'd be cool. I could say I own a sports team.
So we need 700 million, huh, Byron?
Yeah, they got what's the name? Floyd Mayweather is one of the people that are putting his 2 cents in with a partner. Eli Manning's probably going to put his 2 cents in, you know, as far as getting a piece of that. But yeah, and I'm waiting for you to come up with your half of the $350 million, so you know we can make this happen.
I'm gonna start working on it tomorrow. All right, let's see what we got here. All right, let's go. Oh yeah, he also mentions Floyd Mayweather's a potential buyer. But you think the ownership would let Floyd Mayweather come in? Byron?
Why not? That's money. They can sit there. They can say that they have a minority owner if they got Floyd, money maker, Mayweather.
And
I'm just throwing
he has
stuff out
money.
there.
Think about it. He could also fill the. I wonder if you buy ownership, do you get a piece of the stadium? Because don't they own the stadium or no? That's where the money's
I don't think so.
And then it says he's got, okay, so let's get into some good stuff, all right? He's got 49ers, 10% minority also. Why these guys all, why do they need more money? Because of salary cap?
Because they can do that, man. It's like that.
We all need more money.
Okay,
That's
so
why.
look, so the salary cap went up to $285 million. How do you think that's going to affect? That's going to help Dallas with signing Micah Parsons, don't you think?
Dallas is $5 million. Like when I sent Dallas is $5 million a whole. So they're a mess because they were talking about them today. As far as the big three, who's one's paid on the team. Dak Prescott, CeeDee Lamb, and I forgot who the other is. Three of them that take up the majority of the money. So the little bit of that is what's going up a lot. Is not going to help them sign him because they got 25 other free agents on that team. So they got to pick in holes and this and that and whatever. But I see that they might trade him because they can't afford all that because it's just crazy.
I can't see them trading Micah Parsons, man. Jerry Jones likes picking. He likes his players that he picks. I mean, I agree with you. They're gonna have a hard time playing, but I can't. I mean, that guy he's phenomenal. I mean, he's good and he's hard to stop.
Yeah, but if you can't afford to keep him, you might as well trade him and get 2 number ones or 3 number ones or whatever you're going to get for him.
Try to make a Herschel Walker trade.
Yeah, somebody will do it. Somebody that's like Detroit Lions, that are right there, on the edge. You don't think that them getting him that will push them over the top with him on defense with Aiden Hutchinson? Absolutely.
It would definitely push him over the top, but it'll push him even more over the top if they didn't have 30 players hurt on defense. I mean, these guys, that was the most injury devastated team that won. Like they were injured like in double digits the entire season and they still won. That's how dangerous they could be or how just unlucky they are. Joe?
What this, like you said, what this will do will allow the Cowboys to keep Micah Parsons. But the problem is, how much is Micah Parsons going to want now? Let's say he was going to make $30 million a year before this. Now he's going to say, you know what? Hey, the salary cap went up. Maybe I want $40 million a year. Maybe I want $50 million a year. So anybody that's getting a contract now, their number is going to go up like 10, 20, 50% or whatever. So the smart move was to sign people to contracts before this increase. Now all the salaries are going to go up. Signing anybody is going to get a lot more expensive.
Byron, you think that's going to happen? You think they're going to ask for more money? Doesn't it just give them more money to help the other players?
You figure he wants to get paid. That's the whole objective. He's gotten the 5-year mark, and this is where he's going to get. This is where you usually get that big contract. But if they ain't got it to spend, you can't just give it to them as, all right, we'll give it to them. We'll worry about figuring out the salary cap thing later. They're $5 million in a hole right now. Right this second. So they're going to have to, not sign a lot of guys. They're going to have Dak and CD, take pay cuts, to finagle money. But, Harry Roseman does it for, the Eagles all the time. You have some of those GMs that do that, are able to do it. But why is he just doesn't want to deal with the whole free agency thing? And, well, I'm going to pay my stars, because they're Dallas Cowboys. I've always paid the quarterback, wide receiver, and running back. I've always paid them. And then everybody else, we'll worry about that later.
Interesting. Well, Byron put some good information together. He goes, all right, so the salary cap is going to go $277.5 million to $281.5 million for 2005. Salary cap in 2004 was in 2004, it was 255. Wow, that's a lot. 255.4, so almost 30 million, 27 to 30 million. Number 3, Giants have the number 3 pick. We need a quarterback, offensive line, quarterback. Is that a safety or is that 5 defensive tackles?
Safety.
A safety, defensive tackle. Our salary cap number 11. We're ranking number 11. Our cap is 45 million, and we have 25 free agents. The Jets have the number 7 pick. They need a quarterback, DT, offensive tackle, safety, cornerback. Their salary cap rank is number 22. Their cap is 7. So the Giant, we got money.
Got plenty of it.
We got money. All right. 7 million. We got some money, man. We can get some players. All right. The Cowboys, you got a $5 million in the hole. The Dolphins are $7 million in the hole. The Steelers got money. Joe, you need a quarterback, a cornerback, a running back, a wide receiver, and an offensive tackle. What are your thoughts on that?
Quarterback is first, and either way, if they go, the main choices are Justin Fields or Russell Wilson to bring them back. Either way, they're still getting them at a pretty affordable rate. Justin Fields will probably go for about 10, 15, maybe 20 million a year. Russell Wilson would probably go 25, 30 million a year. So they would still have plenty of money to do other things. But yeah, it's all about the quarterback first.
You think they're going to re-sign those 2 guys?
I think the way it's going to go is they're going to, if they're I think they're going to prefer to bring back Justin Fields and let go of Russell Wilson because Justin Fields is younger. But
that's what
I mean. Maybe other teams will want Justin Fields, so we'll see what happens.
Oh, and what about? Let's throw this out here, Joey. Today they were talking about Aaron Rodgers. They threw his name in the bucket as far as going with. What do you think about that? You all right, man? You all right there? Because they were saying that Mike Tomlin is the only guy that probably could control what Aaron Rodgers would bring to the Pittsburgh Steelers. What do you think about that?
Byron, you just gave me the biggest headache. I don't forgive you for that.
I'm sorry.
I've heard a lot of talk. I've heard a lot of talk about Aaron Rodgers coming to Pittsburgh. I would say there's a 99% chance that's not happening. First of all, Aaron Rodgers he was too old last year and he just got older. But to say, oh yeah, well, Tomlin can handle his ego or whatever. Come on. I mean, Aaron Rodgers just basically destroyed the Jets franchise. Why would anybody want that? He's not even a locker room cancer. He's a locker room nuclear bomb. I mean, he insists on bringing in his own people. He sucks. No, I mean, there's a small chance it could happen, and I've heard it, but God, I hope not. God,
Yeah, but
that's a worst case scenario.
If you look at his numbers weren't bad at all.
His last few games, he had 18 touchdowns, 4 interceptions.
Yeah, his numbers weren't that bad. But if he could, let's throw this at you. If he could take that attitude or whatever he's got going on, put it in the locker, lock the door, do you think he could succeed in Pittsburgh?
I don't think he'll succeed anywhere because of his age. Yeah, he had good numbers, but also as soon as he gets the ball, he gets rid of it because he doesn't want to get hit because he's old. Maybe if he brings Devontae Adams, maybe that could work. But gosh, I just think that's a bad idea. But
he threw
it could happen.
28 touchdowns, 11 interceptions, but his last several games he was 18-4, which is really good. So he did put up numbers on a really lousy team. And I think, look, this is all speculation. I can argue either side, right? I could argue that, he goes to a Pittsburgh team. I think he's a problem right now. I think I've always said it, big mistake. If he had any part of getting rid of Robert Saleh, that was a major error, right? He's not going to do that in Pittsburgh. There's no confusion who runs that city. Okay, it's Mike Tomlin, right? So that's the only one I think. Look, Russell Wilson didn't get away. You didn't heard a peep out of Russell Wilson.
Yeah,
You
but
didn't hear. But you didn't hear a peep out of Justin Fields. Like, you didn't hear a peep out of – there was no issues going around the season about complaining, about starting, about not starting, about booing Russell Wilson on. Because remember, when Russell Wilson started, when they started him, they booed him in the first half. Correct, Joe? I believe you're the one who brought that up. They booed him and told him, bring out Justin Fields. Then Russell Wilson turned it on in the second half. And from that point on, they never did it again.
Right.
But both of those guys, neither one of them have the same kind of personality with that Aaron Rodgers have. They ain't got the podcast thing and going on that guy's show and doing all this other stuff and then going on retreats into the darkness or whatever he was doing. Neither one of those guys had that kind of behavior. So it would be different with it. But I'm just saying, if he could check all that stuff at the door, could he succeed in Pittsburgh?
Well, what they're saying is possibly, right? Now, there's a different issue. Joey's saying he doesn't want him. He'd rather keep the two he has, right? I think he's a good addition. He's a veteran that, Russell Wilson, as much as I was his fan, I was, Joey, he looked terrible those last 5 to 6 games. Yes, I mean, he looked terrible. I mean, I'm sorry. Aaron Rodgers on a team that was worse didn't look as bad as Russell Wilson did in those last 5 or 6 games. So, for whatever you could say, at least that's my opinion. But word on the street is that Aaron Rodgers vied to try to stay, right? And they decided not to. We don't know if that humbled him enough. And I just think that let's say if it happens, right? Which, we're saying, you guys are saying you don't think it's going to happen. Here's all the reasons, blah, blah, blah. Okay. But come on, we're going to have the same. I have the same belief that I had last year. If Aaron Rodgers goes to the Pittsburgh Steelers, that's because Mike Tomlin had a serious talk with him, and they shook hands, and Mike Tomlin would have lays down the law. I think that's the only way that happens, right? And Russell Wilson either plays with it or Tomlin just will. You could be a Hall of Fame. I will sit you. I will replace you with Justin Fields as fast as you can blink. So if he does go there, I think it would be under the conditions of which they agree with, but most of it would be agreeable by Mike Tomlin. He's going to run that show. Joey?
When Aaron Rodgers came into the Jets 2 years ago or whatever it was, he had all the leverage. He was the legend in Green Bay. He was still putting up MVP numbers. He was great. Then he comes to New York, he gets hurt, and then he plays the full season last season, and it did not go well. Coach got fired. It was just a bunch of turmoil. And apparently, from what I heard, the new coach of the Jets told them, listen, if you want to come back, you got to drop this podcast thing, this McAfee show thing, and you really have to show up to work. None of this darkness retreat crap where you miss mini camp and training camp and stuff like that.
Is that what happened?
Yeah.
Aaron Glenn.
Yeah. So, but now Aaron Rodgers has no leverage. He'll be lucky to get a job anywhere. So, yeah, I could see either the Steelers or another team saying, bro, we're not putting up with your crap anymore. You want to come in, fine, but, you don't have the leverage here. You come in our terms, whether it's the Steelers or another team, and let's drop this circus act.
What about Najee Harris?
Najee Harris is gone.
Aaron Glenn was very excited with Aaron Rodgers and all that. But what really happened is Aaron Glenn said, I'm excited. I want you. But I want you this is the deal of which you're going to be part of our team. That's what went down?
Exactly.
All right. Go ahead.
Yes.
Go ahead, Byron. Najee Harris.
Najee Harris there. What do you think about him, Joey?
He won't be on the Steelers anymore. He is a perfect who's the guy in Detroit? David Montgomery, like a short yardage power back. He's perfect for that, but he is not like the main running back that you could use because he's too slow. He's all about power, which is fine and can be useful, but he's not your like feature back or something like that. He wants to be Derrick Henry and he's not. So he could be useful on a team, just not as the main guy.
Byron, I don't know about you, but I was disappointed this year in his production.
I think he had 1,000 yards. So, I think he rushed for 1,000, didn't he? I think
1,000 yards over 17 games is like 50 some a game. That's not good.
Yeah, you can fall down and get that. But
exactly.
I think like 4 years, I think he's had like 1,000, like every year for like 4 or something like that.
The good thing about him is he's dependable. He does not get hurt. He doesn't fumble. He's good. But he's not. He has no speed, and he does not have any explosive runs. I think his longest run is like 30 yards or something like that. He will not break it free. He's a good short yardage back, good short yardage power guy. If you want something like that, like a part-time guy, that would split with somebody that's faster and smaller, that would be perfect. He's just not the main guy.
Yeah, he had this over his season, over his career. Yeah, over his career, he's running, but he's 1,000-yard rusher, pretty much.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we'll see what happens. I mean, you need, Tomlin keeps winning. What's the sentiment about Tomlin there now?
Steeler fans are mad as hell because of the way that the Steelers got obliterated in the playoffs by the Ravens. It's like they didn't show up. It's like they didn't even care. It was a blowout, and that just left a really bad taste in people's mouths. People are just fed up with Tomlin. It's the same thing every year. You go 9-8, 10-7, barely make the playoffs, and they get obliterated in the first round. They haven't won a playoff game in like 8 seasons. It's ridiculous.
They're starting to become the Cowboys.
Well, at least you're close, not like those fumbling New York Giants. The only good thing that's going on right now is that you got a lot of quarterbacks are floating around. If the Giants were to go, with a veteran quarterback and then draft one, you got, Matthew Stafford. They were talking about him.
I heard Matthew Stafford. What do you think about that? You got Najee Harris. I mean, you got our guy, our number one receiver.
Yeah, but you still got to have somebody to block.
Neighbors.
Yeah,
no, I get it. You could have people to block and no receivers, right? I mean, at least you got a receiver, right? You got a superstar receiver, and you got nobody blocking. And how many yards did he put up? Didn't he win Offensive Player of the Year?
Okay, Matt Stafford is stationary at 37 years of age. Yeah, he's not going to move around like most. Like if we get a Russell Wilson, that's in the mix. Justin Fields is in the mix. So the Giants probably want a quarterback that can move around. Even when they draft one, it's going to be either Cam Ward or Shedeur Sanders who can't move around. But you have a 37-year-old quarterback behind the suspect line. I understand the fact that we have Malik Neighbors is on the list of the top 100 as for next year.
And Stacy is a pretty good running back.
And I get that, but I'm just saying you have a 37-year-old quarterback behind that line that they still got to fix for the 10th year in a row.
And they don't want to listen to us. I guess we have to put up our money.
Yeah, $750 million. Okay, yeah. Well, 700.
What do you think about You're thinking. So you would, Joey. What would you want as a Pittsburgh? What would your best ideal situation be for your quarterback situation? If you have a quarterback issue.
Out of all the options, I would say Justin Fields is the best option because he's young. He's only 26, and he's a good runner. So even if he's not a good passer, he could be a good runner. And if you have a good runner because the Steelers' offensive line isn't that great either, he could he could run away from the pressure and stuff. But like Byron said, if you have a stationary quarterback, an old stationary quarterback, they're going to get killed back there behind a bad offensive line.
Yep.
What do you think? Yeah. What do you think about possibly Trevor? Well, there's I got here talks that Trevor Lawrence possibly going to Pittsburgh.
That was just a silly rumor. Jacksonville doesn't even have a general manager, so I'm not sure how they can have trade talks with them. But if Jacksonville traded Trevor Lawrence now, I think they would have like $100 million cap hit or something like that. So they're not going to do something like that. It was just a silly rumor.
Some side news. It's kind of funny when you talk about a quarterback and he's getting $4 million a year.
They've said for years being a backup quarterback is the best job in football.
Oh, yeah.
You just hold the clipboard.
Hold the clipboard. And they didn't even hold clipboards anymore.
For $4 million.
You hold the iPad.
Yeah.
I'll hold it for $1 million.
You know what? He could be playing Candy Crush on that iPad or something like that, and pretend to be paying attention to the. Oh yeah, I'm looking at plays right here. I got to kill this kid. I got to crush the candy.
If he goes in the game, it's going to be a big problem there. There's going to be a big problem there. Hey, so what do you think we're going to do in the draft, Byron? Let me see what you got here. You told me what you have in the draft. Washington. Oh my God, the Washington Commanders have almost $80 million in cap space.
Sure do.
I missed that one. Oh man, because I stopped at Detroit's got $50 million.
Yep. And the Eagles have 12.
The Eagles got 12. Let me tell you, I've been hearing Garrett. Myles Garrett going to Washington. I mean, that would be a major move right there.
And
I've heard him going to Detroit.
I'm sorry.
I've heard him going to Detroit.
Detroit's got money too, according to here, but Byron has.
Yeah.
But Detroit doesn't have Washington money.
But what are you going to give to get him though? He's at least two number ones.
I get it, but they're pretty close right now that their draft they can trade to get to. They can make a Super Bowl with a young quarterback and rebuild. The whole objective is getting this kid's already proved he can win his playoff game. He's also proved he can come from behind. He's also proved that he has calm under pressure. So, why not go after what you can now with that kind of salary cap? I mean, the objective is to win the Super Bowl. Win one now. It's been a long time. When was the last time Washington won a Super Bowl? Long time ago.
Go for it.
Go for it, man. You got $80 million in salary cap. Do it. St. Louis. What did the Los Angeles Rams do when they won a Super Bowl? Didn't they do that?
Yes.
They leveraged everything.
Yeah, they turn around for the next 5 years. Yeah, and they won. And then after they won the Super Bowl, what have they done?
Okay, but were they more relevant than the Giants this year? Were they more relevant than the Giants this year?
Who?
Yeah, they were dangerous. Man,
they almost beat the Eagles.
That team, again, I don't know what's going on with these coaches. They could have beat the Eagles. I'm telling you, they were just those 4 plays were terrible, right? They were driving down the field, man. I mean, so they were back. They got good players. The Rams were a dangerous team in that playoffs. They were a minute, maybe 2. I think less than 2 minutes away from winning that game. They just timed. I think they called the bad timeout, and I just think that some of the plays that they called going down the stretch, but Stafford threw that ball all the way down the field. He threw it till the 4th. He had his last shot. So they did pretty good, Byron. And that was 3 years removed, 4 years removed?
Longer than that. What, the Super Bowl? When they won? Yeah, it's been longer than that. Yeah, but you got
Redskins won in 1992.
Yeah, it's been a minute. Washington, they got 70 Washington's got like $80 million in cap money. But do you
That's
want
a
to take
lot of money.
Yeah, but do you want to go ahead and spend all this money now and more in, we're going to go for it right now? Or do you want to build for the future? Put
I
the
don't think
pieces,
you need
more
to.
pieces.
I don't think that much. I don't think they're $80 million away, though. Do you, Joey? $80 million in cap space away? I think they're a pretty
You
good
get
team.
a lot of good players with 80 million.
But let's say they don't use it all. I don't think they need 80 million to. If we didn't know they were 80 million away, would you say that they were what? How many players away would you think they are from being a legitimate Super Bowl contender? Because they still got to compete against Philly. But they beat Philly.
Yes, they have a superstar quarterback, which is awesome, but they're not on the level of talent as Philly or something like that. They still have a lot of holes. There's still a lot they could do. So if they were smart, they would keep those draft picks, and spend that money and get better players, but maybe not go for broke or something like that. Either way, they would be fine, but it's best to stay the course and be more conservative.
They need to fix their offensive line. They need an edge rusher, which could be Myles Garrett. They need Bobby Wagner is 34 years old, so he's the heart and soul of the defense. He's 34. They need they cut a number one pick that was corner. Emmanuel Forbes, I think the kid's name was. That he was that bad at corner, but he was a number one pick 2 years ago. They got rid of him, and they need help at the corner position too. But I would. Their future is great because they got their quarterback. They'll have Scary Terry, receiver, and they just need to fix the offensive line. Get some edge rushers, and they'll be fine. But as far as taking all that money and spending it, what? Let's spend. Nah, that's not. Daniel Snyder did that years ago.
Right. Every year.
I'm just saying that I am not saying to do that. My point is they're a few players away. Offensive linemen aren't as expensive as everybody else except for the left tackle, right? The biggest expense you're going to get is the edge rusher.
Right.
Okay? So, you're not going to use up 80 million on that.
Yeah, but they still need to replace the middle linebacker. If they're going to replace Bobby Wagner, he's 34 years old. He can't play forever.
Okay, how much money do you think they could have some money to be a legitimate contender? Because I think they're a contender now. I don't think they're not a contender. There's a big difference between being a contender and winning it and not being a contender. I think they'll make the playoffs again next year.
Yeah, they should. The NFC least, they will.
Okay, so that's a start. So you got to be in it to win it. Okay, so now they need the positions you were talking about, but I don't think they're going to spend that much. I think they got the money to do draft picks plus get the right players.
Yeah, they can do both. I'm just saying, don't go crazy spending money like Daniel Snyder and Joey said. Don't go crazy spending money when he turned around and went. They got Bruce Smith one year, Deion Sanders, and another guy.
Money on a whole bunch of old veterans, man.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah, but he still spent it though.
He got Deion Sanders in his final year.
I was just gonna say, Deion Sanders came over for.
I'm glad I even remember that because if anyone spoke to me about Deion Sanders, the Redskins is not even a team I even think about that he was on.
Yeah, but for the money, you're gonna give me what, 40 million? All right, I'd be right there. That's what happened. And Bruce Smith too.
Yep, Daniel Snyder should get credit as much as I don't like him, but you know what he should get credit for? You ever see that Doritos commercial with Dan Marino, Emmitt Smith, Jerry Rice when they're like, I can still play, right? and Randy Moss. And they throw a ball in Randy Moss's arm. Emmitt Smith is like, oh my God, I'm hurting. Dan Marino. Did you ever see that commercial?
Yeah.
Okay. That's what Snyder did when he was picking all those receivers.
All those Super Bowl.
He picked the Dorito team.
Yeah.
He picked the Doritos team. I'm just saying that they don't need to spend all the money. I agree with you. But I think they got enough money to put the right players in place to go deep in the playoffs.
But you want to build for long term. You don't want to just be a 1 year wonder. Look at the Eagles. Again, they're built for the future. All the D lines are young, all their cornerbacks are young guys. The only one to leave, they could probably lose was it Zach Braun, the all pro linebacker. But for the most part, that team is young, man. They are young, and that's the way you should build a team. You build from the front to the back, inside out on the offensive line. That's the way you build it.
There's no doubt, and you're going to have to, because you're going to compete with the Eagles. You need to beef up your line, right? Yeah. I mean, that's NFC football is just NFC East football is just big. You know what I mean? So you're gonna need to do something there. Okay. So what do you think about what's going to happen in the draft? Where you headed on the draft?
Us, a quarterback. And but if we get one of those bridge quarterbacks, we can wait till next year when it's a lot better ones and pick either the linebacker from Penn State, Abdul Carter, I think the kid's name is, him, Travis Hunter. You can pick him.
Well, you got who goes first? You got the Patriots go first, right?
Yep. Tennessee goes first.
Tennessee go first. Tennessee needs a quarterback, don't they?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, so they're going to pick one of the quarterback. Who's the next one?
Cleveland.
Quarterback.
Cleveland needs a quarterback. So that's going to give you the Cam Ward or Shador or the kid from Texas.
Who?
I would love that Abdul Carter. Abdul Carter is basically another Micah Parsons.
Yes, he is.
Right, but I'm talking
how can you pass that up?
Yeah, but if the first
Cleveland
two teams take the two top,
I just got this in. Listen to this. Cleveland may get Kirk Cousins. That brother, he knows how to get paid.
Yeah.
Well, because Atlanta's going to cut him, so he's going to get paid anyway.
Who's going to cut him?
Atlanta's going to cut him, and they got to take that cap hit, and they're going to pay him. So he'll worry. He doesn't have to worry about getting paid because he's already paid, and then Cleveland could get him for like $1 million or something.
So it'll be a Russell Wilson deal.
Yeah, pretty much.
Exactly.
That's the way to go. But I'm not convinced with Kirk Cousins. I'm convinced with him, his agent. I'm convinced. That guy just amazes me. I'm just not convinced with Kirk Cousins.
Yeah, but if those quarterbacks go 1 and 2, which is Cam Ward and Shador, then what?
We got Travis.
Or
I would take
Carter.
What?
Carter, Penn State.
You would take him over Travis Hunter?
Yeah.
Why?
Because that kid is that good. He's that good.
Imagine having Micah Parsons on your team. That's what you'd have.
You're gonna take a get over the Heisman Trophy winner, who's just an all-around athlete. You still think that other thing? Really?
Yes.
Well, that means we need Thibodeau to step it up. I mean, he hasn't lived up to the hype. I mean, he's playing pretty good, but he hasn't played Micah Parsons standards.
And you're making a case for Abdul Carter right there.
There you go. Well,
what do you mean?
You just made a case for him.
If you settled for Travis Hunter, you'd be doing just fine. He's elite. I mean, there's at 3 you really can't go wrong. But I don't know if these quarterbacks are good enough. Maybe Cam Ward, yes, but not Sanders. I don't think he's top 3 pick good enough. I think he's more like a top 10 pick, not a top 3 pick.
Yeah, I would take if this guy. So we would have two. We'd have Thibodeau and this guy. Maybe that'll help Thibodeau play better.
There you go.
Yeah, so because he's up for his 5th-year contract.
Mm-hmm. So, but then are you still convinced? Minnesota's got a problem. I mean, where's Sam Darnold going to go? I think Sam Darnold's going to lose some money, but I think Sam Darnold, he's a good pickup for somebody.
Raiders.
Interesting.
Why not Giants?
Oh, he can't come back to New York. He flopped it. Yeah.
That's true.
No. No.
He still has terrible memories of that stadium.
He's still seeing ghosts. Nah.
He is.
Well,
He is.
Santiago's saying that the Vikings may tag him. If they tag him, right?
And they got to pay
How
him.
does that? They have to get rid of Daniel Jones.
No, they don't, because he's not. He's not making that much. Like, he can keep him as a third quarterback.
Well, how much would Darnold make if he tags him?
Whatever 30 million or whatever the number is for quarterbacks.
So he'd get quarterback money.
Yeah, for 1 year.
Yeah, but
that wouldn't be smart.
I wouldn't do it. But a team can tag you, Byron, and you have no choice in that matter.
They ain't got no choice. Or we can send Aaron Rodgers back to Minnesota. We can send him up to Minnesota. There you go. Be perfect place for him. Bridge quarterback.
There you go.
See if the kid is okay. J.J. McCarthy. Aaron Rodgers, Minnesota Vikings. There you go.
I don't think so.
Why not?
He has just like Brett Favre.
Yeah.
I don't think so. It was then he signed a $160 million deal with the Giants. I was trying to look what his contract with the Minnesota is. I'm just saying that's a lot of money because J.J. McCarthy still is still under Minnesota. It's still under the rookie contract.
Yeah, I mean, he was just drafted last year.
Yeah, so they got time. He was handed a huge extension in 2008, but he was benched falling in the third quarter. I mean, it doesn't have good stats on there. I don't know. I mean, if they tag him, that would be interesting. Let's see how he does the following year. But what are you going to do if you tag him and you pay him 30-something million? He says, "Oh, somebody's over the cap."
You could tag and trade him, I think.
Somebody want it.
If you tag, so you could tag him and trade him. Why would you tag him to trade him? Couldn't you just trade him?
So you could get something back for him.
Oh, because he only signed 1 year. That's right.
Yep.
Yeah.
He only signed 1 year. So you tag him and then trade him. Yeah, that wouldn't be a bad move. Because I think all indications are staying with McCarthy. What would you do, Byron?
I'm going to do my usual crazy thing. Let's see. I would let Sam Darnold walk. I would re-sign Daniel Jones to be the quarterback, the bridge quarterback. And, if the kid's if he's hurt, or if he's going to start the season, then let Daniel Jones start the season off and let him be the backup, because that's a perfect place for him, as far as getting tuned up and fixing him. That guy, the head coach for Minnesota, is that kind of guy with quarterback. Look what he did with Sam Darnold.
Look what he did with Kirk Cousins.
Look at that. So he's that quarterback whisperer like Bruce Arians.
He went from one quarterback that should have been a lot better than Sam Darnold and took Sam Darnold and made Sam Darnold look better than everybody. So, right now it looks like it's a system. So somebody proves us wrong, his system's working.
Yeah, but it helps when you got Jefferson, Addison, and the tight end.
Good offensive line.
A good offensive line. Well, you got weapons all the way around. That makes anybody look good.
There's no doubt. So then, that's the point to having this J.J. McCarthy or having some Daniel Jones do something there. I mean, it gives you. My point being is, if you would have told me before the season who I take Sam Darnold over Daniel Jones, I would take Daniel Jones.
Damn.
I knew that was shocking.
Oh, man.
I knew that would shock you.
That's a shocker.
Hey, look, Daniel Jones is what makes Daniel Jones a good move for Minnesota is because the receivers that you said, right? because Daniel Jones is good at throwing the ball downfield. He's terrible at those short passes, those passes inside. He's really not that good in the red zone because it's a short pass, but he's a baller when it's to the deep pass, when he's got time, he can throw the ball downfield with some accuracy. And what makes him, he's a good runner, but what makes him a better runner is when he's got time and his receivers are fast and they go downfield, that's putting more defensive players deep. So he has more running room if he can get past the second level.
And the biggest thing with that whole thing is that if they keep him, it's on the cheap. They're not paying him $30 million to be the quarterback.
Right. And they're not paying JJ McCarthy that money. So they got extra money. And you just told me, did you have Minnesota's cap here or no?
Nah.
I didn't see the cap. Detroit's got a nice cap too. Let me tell you something. For a team that hurt to not, to play as well as they did, even though they end up losing and having that salary cap, they're going to be good again. I mean, like you said, Byron, they've been good for the last several years. Right? It's no longer they turned it around in 3 years, but they've been good for 3 to 4 years.
The only problem with that, well, we saw what happened last year. All of them got 20, 30 guys got hurt. They're playing with second, third, fourth string guys, on defense. Their guy, Aiden Hutchinson, got hurt. And, they had to trade to get, another edge rusher. And, like we said before, Myles Garrett and Aiden Hutchinson on the other side, that would be a little scary for people.
Yeah. And what do you think about Zach Martin retiring? I'm getting a tweet on that.
Did you know he never had a holding penalty?
Yeah.
Wow.
Another Notre Dame guy. Notre Dame.
He's never – how many seasons he play?
11.
10, 11, yeah.
10, 11 seasons without a holding penalty?
How crazy is that?
That they caught him.
Or he's good. That's what I was going to say. Or he's good at getting away with it.
He was holding on every play, but
to not at least, grab something.
6,659 pro snaps, 0 holding penalties.
Wow.
Do we think maybe Hall of Fame? Probably.
Oh, definitely.
I would think so.
Definitely.
Don't remind me of that, my poor Eli Manning. All right, gentlemen. Joey, tell us about your show and how we can hear it and how to get a hold of you.
The Donut Bag, now live on the Sportscast Network, Mondays at usually 7, sometimes 8 p.m., sometimes on Tuesdays. But
awesome.
But yeah, talking Steelers. It's awesome.
Awesome. All righty, Mr. Jones. What's his name? Look at Mr. Keep Hope Alive. He has a new name every week.
Every week.
What's the hope to keep it alive?
Just keeping hope that the Giants are going to be relevant, again. And, so I got to, so I can stop getting hammered, walking around all these Philadelphia fans because they blew me up when I went to the senior center. Ooh, they talked about me like a dog that day after they won. Oh, they were killing me. I walked to the door and they were playing the Eagle fight song in the door. I didn't even get in the door good. And next, fly, Eagles, fly. I had to hear they were killing me.
They should be thanking you. They won the Super Bowl because the Giants gave them Saquon Barkley. So they should be thanking you. They should be giving you hugs. They should be giving you money.
No, they brought that up too. Oh yeah, thank you, Saquon. I was like, yeah,
they were thanking him. I'm telling you. Yeah. When you got fans chanting at the end of the game where you could hear it, thank you, Giants. Thank you, Giants. I mean, how does Mara not feel that was a slap in the face?
I could have been the owner. Matter of fact, I don't even want 10% because I would have fired both. As soon as that happened, I would. You know what? I changed my mind. Both of you guys are fired. I'm done.
You're gone.
I can't think of it.
Exactly. And
just for that reason.
They believed in him so much. He had less than 100 yards in the first time in so many games, but they still gave him the ball 26 times. Okay? That's belief.
Yeah.
He didn't fumble. He didn't do anything, So, all righty. Well, Joey, good luck with the show. Thank you for joining, Mr. Jones. Mr. Jones, let's see what happens. Thank you for putting that together with the salary cap. I am surprised at how much money they have out there. But did you see that they're trying to get some shows on Netflix too? Some of the games on Netflix, dude. You're gonna have to pay for like 13 streaming hours to watch the NFL. I don't know how
they do the Super Bowl like that.
I said it a long time ago. You're gonna have to pay for the Super Bowl, but I don't know how bars are gonna have it because that's a lot of money for every streaming piece. You know what I mean? It's I think NFL tickets going away. Unless they do something, because you might as well
they'll I think that NFL ticket, they'll just make it more money. What is it like $300, $500 or something like that? They'll just make it some.
Yeah, but if you get a streaming service that'll show it, I don't know if they're exclusive rights. I don't know. I'm just it's not cool, right? Watching. That's why I like Red Zone. Don't mess with my Red Zone.
I love Red Zone. Oh, that's the best thing ever.
Red Zone gives me. All right, gentlemen, you have a good night. God bless. Bless your families. Until next week. Don't forget, every Thursday live, 8 p.m. What time, Mr. Byron Jones? 8 p.m. Thursday, streaming live on YouTube and on Facebook. Mr. Joey Bag of Donuts, the donut bag. Don't forget to see the link on the bottom of our show. Let's tune into a show, listen to some good football talk about the Pittsburgh Steelers. Gentlemen, have a great night and a great week. We'll talk soon. Peace.
Fly Eagles.
Your people should be